page 221. Women as chattel, chattel. Woman has been a chattel in India ever since the later Vedic times, when she was included in the list of dakshina, along with items like cattle, horses, chariots, etc. Such gifts were given to priests. Evidently, they were enjoyed and then sold as slaves or prostitutes. Later in the epics, we have references to women as gifts. Footnote 105. Heroes are said to be rewarded with hosts of beautiful women in heaven. Undoubtedly, this is a reflection of earthly prizes given to heroes and eminent men. In classical literature, too, we meet prostitutes as a decoration to courts in military and hunting expeditions. Footnote 106. Women also came with victories as booty, and after serving the victorious generals and eminent military personages, they would find their way to brothels. Thus Arjuna brought over the women of the enemy as booty. Footnote 107. King Virata also expressed his pleasure of Arjuna's prowess by giving him pretty maidens. Footnote 108. In the battlefield, Karna declared that whoever pointed out Arjuna to him would receive 100 well-dressed maidens from him. Footnote 109. A king who does not give such gifts is branded with the epithet Rajokali, bracket opens, a Kali, Kali, that is, evil spirit of a king, bracket closes, footnote 110. At Draupadi's wedding, 100 slave girls in the early bloom of their youth were given away. Footnote 111. Krishna entertained guests with pretty maidens. Footnote 112. Also at Subhadra's wedding, no less than 1,000 girls were offered to guests for enjoyment in the drinking and bathing sports. Footnote 113. Yudhishthira received 10,000 slave girls. Footnote 114. King Shasha Bindu, at his horse sacrifice, gave way to priests, hundreds of thousands of pretty girls. Footnote 115. So did Bhagiratha. Footnote 116. We also hear of thousands of beautiful girls as gifts in Shraddhas. Footnote 117. Instances can be multiplied. Footnote 118. We are told that pretty young girls are natural gifts to Brahmanas. Footnote 119. And that whoever gives this gift lavishly on this earth receives plentiful fruits in heaven, that is rewarded with many nymphs there for his enjoyment. Footnote 120. In the Mahabharata and in the Puranas, we have numerous instances where the host entertains his guest by, page 222, sending his own wife to him at night and/or other pretty women. In the Sanat Sujatiya section of the Mahabharata, 5 marks of true friendship are enumerated. One of these is to share one's wife with a friend. Pretty girls also formed part of the dowry. Para. 2 things are clear from these references. First, there must have been an easily available source of pretty young girls, a steady supply for instant enjoyment or for giving away. One wonders where such girls could be found. Prostitutes' daughters is a ready answer. The Mahabharata has an episode, King Yayati's daughter Madhavi was given to Galava. The father lent her in lieu of money so that she could be hired out to 4 kings in turn for a year each. The kings gave Galava handsome rewards with which he paid his school living fees to his preceptor. Clearly here Madhavi is a money earner to her father, and the latter satisfies Galava by prostituting her to 4 different kings. Apart from this kind of distress cell in times of crisis, women as war booty was another big source of supply. Wives caught in certain cases of adultery were also driven out. Such unwanted women congregated in the brothel, as also women who could be bought and kept in palaces as occasional gifts. In the royal courts and rich households, where many abducted women were kept for service and as status symbols, these proliferated and became yet another source of supply. Para. The second point that strikes us is that these women were regarded as inanimate objects of enjoyment. They figure in lists of material gifts, sacrificial fees, donations, entertainment, prizes, rewards, and dowry. And after the temporary enjoyment, the recipient or donee could not but turn them loose. At least in most cases, they did so. Thus, there were hosts of women who eventually ended up in the brothel where they catered commercially to men. All along this dismal history, we notice that women had very little initiative or choice about their destiny. They were pawned, lost, or gained in battles, given as gifts at sacrifices and weddings, were relegated to the position of slaves and chattel in palaces and rich households, sexually enjoyed whenever their owners so desired, and discarded when the desire abated. Para. They got paid only in brothels. In other instances, they were only fed, clothed, and decked out with jewelry so that their masters would find them attractive. Even in brothels, their labor could and frequently was exploited, as many rules in the scriptures testify. Page 223. Vatsyayana has a long section on how the harlots could play act, feign, seduce, cheat and deceive their customers with or without help of middlemen and procuresses. So does Damodara Gupta teach novices how to make the best use of youth and charm and extort money from customers by hook or by crook. Other texts also teach similar lessons. None of these texts is authored by women. When, after being trained in the art of deception, the prostitute practiced these arts, they are given foul names by the entire community. The very nature of the profession entailed a degree of deceit and the entire social setup, and its attitude encouraged it. Instead of accepting responsibility for it and admitting that prostitutes act as men force them to act, and that they exist because they render a service that society needs, the entire blame is loaded on the prostitutes themselves. Para. The situation was very different in Greece and Rome, as Aristophanes, Menander, or Terence's plays testify. Here in India, the exploitation is redoubled because male customers frequently sought to cheat prostitutes of their rightful wages, as the law books bring out clearly. And on top of this, they tried to rob them of their rightful place in society. But when literature does not seek to be respectable but truthful in Kautilia's and Vatsyayana's works, or the Bhana, bracket opens, which decidedly belongs to a lower, less respectable genre, bracket closes, prostitutes come into their own. The customer looks upon them, if not with positive respect, yet not with contempt, and betrays his awareness of the necessity and significance of their role and profession. But the major respectable literary tradition is that which reflects the upper class reaction to the institution, a class which is not a bit averse to use their services, but is yet too respectable to regard them as human beings. Once this attitude is fostered and becomes prevalent, depriving prostitutes of their fees, manhandling or insulting them is condoned. But this was only true of the common harlot, with little charm and no accomplishment. The well-trained and well-preserved beauty, the Ganika, who belonged to the upper class, enjoyed the patronage of royalty or nobility and was comparatively secure and comfortable. Para. Another proof of the double standard is that, although associating with prostitutes or accepting their food was punishable, there is no rule against accepting benefits from them. Records in the Tiruvorriyur, Tiruvorriyar, Tiruvorriyur temple show the Devadasis there made rich endowments. Evidently, such works of public utility were enjoyed by all, that is, by the community, page 224, for whom it was a sin to touch a prostitute or to eat her food. Thus, society had no hesitation in using the fruits of her labor while looking down upon her. Presumably by enjoying such charitable institutions set up by her society, was kindly deigning to offer her an opportunity to expiate for the sins of her profession, a profession which could not flourish without the patronage of a section of the male population. This section was punished only notionally. Footnote 121. Para. Society thus created situations in which many women were deprived of the right to remain respectable and be regarded so that such women were pushed to this profession. And they could leave as prostitutes because a steady supply of male customers was ensured. These men found their wives dull as companions and so flocked to the prostitutes. In return, society ostracized the prostitutes, but not their customers. Whether in the palace or in the temples or in the brothels, they served men with an uncertainty regarding payment and the fear of molestation, mutilation, torture, and death. They had scant provision for old age and infirmity. Their bodies, accomplishments, and gifts and charity were enjoyed by the community, which otherwise treated them as untouchables and showered curses and imprecation on the profession itself, as if prostitutes alone could make prostitution viable as a profession. Penalty for maltreatment or deceit is mentioned, but one wonders how few wronged prostitutes could actually sue the state for their flouted rights and dues. Such was the precarious existence of prostitutes who could, with a few exceptions of really upper class or outstanding individuals, be exploited by men at will and with impunity. Notes are recorded in the next file. Page 224. Prostitution in Ancient India. Notes 1. See if the sacrifice's wife being publicly questioned by the officiating priest regarding her secret lovers at the Varuna Praghasha sacrifice, quote, with whom, bracket, plural, bracket closes, hast thou had secret affairs, question mark, unquote. But though she confessed, we hear of no penalty for her transgression. Number 2. See if the terms swatantra, independent, or swadhina yavana, she who can freely enjoy her youth, as synonymous for the prostitute. Scriptures lay down that women are wards of the fathers in childhood, of their husbands in youth, and of sons at old age. Number 3. A woman with whom men take turns bracket varo, bracket closes, comma, i.e., one who can be possessed or enjoyed by different men in turns. Number 4, described in the Mausala Parva. Page 225, number 5, Eastern Punjab and Western UP. Number 6, Roman 8, 27, 30, 57 to 9. Number 7, chapter 70. Number 8, Samaya Natrika, Roman 3.18. Number 9, Roman 3.5.14 to 26. Number 10, Vishnu Purana, chapter 37, Yagnavalkya Smriti 240. Number 11, Arthashastra, Roman 2.27.10.1 to 3. 12, Padma Purana, Srishti Kondo, 52.97. 13, CF, the Megha Duta, verse 35. 14, Roman 4.19.9, colon, 16, 19, 30. Number 15, 1.167, 4, colon, 2.13.12, 15, 17. Number 16, Roman 15, also the Panchavingsha Brahmana, Roman 8.1.10, colon, Kaushitaki Brahmana, Roman 27.1. Latyayana Shanta Sutra, Srauta Sutra, Roman 4.3.2, semicolon. Vajasenia Samhita, Roman 30.22, bracket, henceforth, Vaja.sum, bracket closes. Number 17, Roman 16.1.36, semicolon, Roman 20.136.5, also Aitareya Brahmana 1.27.2. Number 18, Roman 3.4.2.1. 19, Vaja Sum, Roman 30:12, tail Brahmana, maybe Taittiriya Brahmana 3.4.7.1. 20, Vaja Sum, 30.12, Tait Briyar, Roman 3.4.7. Number 21, Jaim BR 2.404 FF, comma, Kali GS 12.3.6. Number 22, 1.43. Number 23, Vinaya Pitaka 3.138. Number 24, CF, the English synonyms, courtesan, prostitute, halot, strumpet, hetaira, hetaira, whore, trollop, shut, etc., bearing different connotations and also signifying the social strata to which they belong. Number 25, Artha, V2. Number 26, Ibid, 1.20. Number 27, Ibid, 3.20. Number 28, Ibid, 8.17. Number 29, Kama Sutra, 6.6.54. 30, Arthashastra, 2.27. Jatakas mention the Vannadasi in 2.380, semicolon, 3.59 to 63, 69 to 72, colon, 475.8. Number 31, Jataka, 3.59 to 63. Number 32, R. Shama Sastri ED, Kautiliya's Arthashastra, Mysore, 1st edition, 1915, 6th edition, 1960. Section on the Ganika Dakshya, Superintendent of Prostitutes. Number 33, Brihata Kalpava, ED, by Punya Vijaya G, bracket Bhava Nair, 1933 to 8, bracket close, stop. Kautilya includes reading and writing. Vatsyayana mentions reading and composing poems and deciphering code words in her syllabus. Number 34, Manu Samhita 2.67. Number 35, probably to the 1st century AD. Number 36, from Sanskrit word priti, fees. Number 37, Sanskrit pariyayam, expenses. Number 38, CF. Durya Vadana ED by P.L. Vaidya, P. 218. 39, Gyata Dharma Katha, .1. Page 226. Number 40, Moti Chandra, The World of Courtesans, New Delhi Vikas, 1973, page 48. Number 41, Arthashastra 4.12. Number 42, Yagnavalkya Samhita 2.295. Number 43, Kama Sutra 6.1.10.12. Number 44, Ibid 6.5.1 to 6. Number 45, Ibid 6.6.31. Number 46, Ibid 6.3.28 to 31. Number 47, Arthashastra 4.13. Number 48, 5.196, 18 to 19. 49, 5.15, 51 to 8. 50, 3.238 FF. Number 51, 4.64.24 to 9. 52 number 50, 3.238 FF. Number 51, 4.64.24 to 9. 52, 12.88, 14.15, colon, 8.125.9 FF. 53, Mahabharata, 15.85.18. 54, Ibid, 15.80.32. 55, Ibid, 7.65.6. 56, Ibid, 7.60.1.2. 12.29.65. 57, Ibid, 15.14.4, semicolon, 39.20, semicolon, 17.1.4, 18.6.12.13. 58, Mahabharata, 3,186 to 7, 8.49.76 to 8, 12.64.17.30, semicolon, 12.96.18.19, 83, 85 to 6, 88, semicolon, 106.6 FF. Also in the Ramayana, 2.71, semicolon, 22, 25, 26. Number 59, 16.36.48. Number 60, 7.50. Number 61, 9.51. Number 62, 18.60, 61. 63, 4.34.17.18. 64, 11.30 to 35. 65, Mahabharata 1.115.39. 66, 1.4.34 to 41. 67, 1.4.42. 68, 1.4.49. 69, CF. The important drama Mahabharata, where the heroine is a beautiful courtesan accomplished in the various arts. She is described as, quote, an ornament to the city, unquote, stop. Number 70, Rahula Sankritayana's Hindi translation, Banaras, 1936, pp. 73 to 88. Number 71, by the same translator, Banaras 1964 pp 321-5. Number 72 47.20.23. 73 Sacred Books of the East, Volume 17 pp 106-7, 171-2. 74 Dhammapada Commentary, Pali Text Society, London 1906-14, pp 308-9. 75 Vinaya Pitaka, Sacred Books of the East, Volume 20, pp 360-1. 76 CF Samaya Matrika 8.102, 103, 112, Kuttani Mata 532, Sarda Gadhari Padhati 4052. Number 77 Samaya Matrika 2.28-80. Page 227, number 78, 3.33. Number 79, Kama Sutra, 7.23.24. Number 80, Yagnavalkya Smriti, 2.290, Narada, 78.79. 81, Kama Sutra, 1.62-5. Number 82, 2.290. Number 83, especially in Ashvaghosha and Sudraka's dramas. Number 84, all these and much more are taught in the Kuttamala of Damodara Gupta and also in the Desi Padesha 4.12.19, 30, 36. Number 85, Samaya Matrika 1.40, 45. Kama Sutra 7.1.13-17, semicolon. See also Dasarapaka 2.34. 86 1.4.48. Number 87 2.293. Number 88 Gautama Dharmasutra 22.2. Number 89 9.259-60. Number 90 Kama Sutra 1.4.45. Number 91 Dasarapaka 2.8. Number 92 CF Vishnu Purana chapter 70. 93 6.1.4. Number 94 a woman in any case like a child or a slave was not allowed to own property. Mahabharata 1.82.22, 2.71.1, semicolon, 5.33.64. Number 95, 6.2.3-23. Number 96, 103.4, semicolon. Also in Atri Samhita 267, Samvarta S, 161, semicolon. Parashara S. 10.15 FF. Number 97 Kama Sutra 1.3.20. Number 98 Arthashastra 2.27. Number 99 as a mark of gratitude for divine favors received or as a gift given in faith for favors expected from the temple deity. 100 chapter 8. Number 101 like those at Nashik, Kuda, Kuda, Mahada, Junagadh, Sitabenga, Ratnagiri. Number 102 Arthashastra 2.23. Number 103 the term may have a secondary reference to tarnishing the family's Kula. Number 103 the term may have a secondary reference to tarnishing the family's Kula, closes, prestige, stop. However, the etymology is not clear. Number 104, Prakrita Khando, chapter 27. Number 105, C.F. Ramayana, 2.1, 11, 22, 25, 26, semicolon, 4, semicolon, 20.13, semicolon, 24.34, comma, Mahabharata 3.186.7, comma, 8, semicolon, 49.76 to 8, comma, 12.98, semicolon, 46, comma, 13.96.18.19.82. Number 106, C.F. Kumarasambhava 16.36, 48, semicolon, Raghubhangsha 7.50. 107, Mahabharata 3.8.27. Number 108, Ibid 4.34.5. Number 109, Ibid.8.38.4 FF. Number 110, Ibid 12.12.366. Number 111, Ibid.1.198.16. Number 112, Ibid.4.72.16. Number 113, Ibid, 1.221.49.50. Number 114, Ibid, 2.51.8, 9.52.11.29. Page 228. Number 115, Ibid.7.65.6. Number 116, Ibid.7.60.1, 2.12.29.65. 117, number 117, Ibid 15.12.4, semicolon, 39.20, semicolon, 17.1.4, semicolon, 18.6, semicolon, 12, 13. Number 118, C.F. Sagara's gifts to Brahmanas. Number 119, Opsit 3.315.2, 6.233.4, semicolon, 4.18 to 21, semicolon, 12.68.33, 171.5, semicolon, 173.16 FF. Number 120, Opsit 13.145.2. Number 121, the Prajapatya expiatory title was seldom honored by actual performance, as is borne out by a vast amount of literature. Next file, Woman and the Sacred in Ancient Tamil Nadu, page 229. Page 229. Woman and the Sacred in Ancient Tamil Nadu. George L. Hart, H-A-R-T, number 3. George L. Hart III. We possess in ancient Tamil a large body of poetry which antedates for all intents and purpose the incursion of Sanskrit culture into Tamil Nadu. This poetry, found in the eight anthologies and the Puttupattu, dates from the 1st and 2nd centuries AD. The culture which produced it was a continuation of the megalithic culture which dominated the Deccan for the millennium before Christ. The special importance of early Tamil poetry for cultural history is that it describes the civilization which, according to the Allchins, Allchins, was characterized by a very conservative and unchanging culture. Footnote 1. Before it was appreciably influenced by Sanskritic culture from the north. Para. A study of the sources in early Tamil reveals a dual focus of the sacred, the king and woman. The subsequent influence of both of these elements on Indian civilization was very great. This paper concentrates on one of them, woman. It should be remarked here that this dual focus is mirrored in the poems themselves, which are divided into two great branches. Puram, 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 comprising those poems which deal with life outside the family, bracket opens, and usually with the king, bracket closes, and Adam, Akam, AKAM, comprising those poems dealing with life inside the family, bracket, and specifically the love between man and woman, bracket closes, stop, para. It should also be remarked that the nature of divinity for the early Tamils was primarily malevolent. Spiritual powers were thought to be immanent, lurking within anything imbued with a special sacred importance, and they were thought to be potentially destructive. They had to be propitiated lest they cause harm, but they were never invoked for good, as were the Vedic gods. With this brief introduction, we may turn to the role of woman in early Tamil. Para. Women in ancient Tamil Nadu were strongly tabooed when they were menstruous or when they had recently given birth. Pur, P-U-R. 299, describes how an enemy's horses, quote, stand terrified like girls who cannot touch dishes, bracket, when they are, bracket closes, in the temple of Murugan, stop unquote, page 230. Hence, the poem refers to the time when they are menstruous. In AK.7, the foster mother describes what she told her daughter when she came of age, colon quote, I told her, comma, quote opens, your breasts are budding, comma, your sharp teeth shine, comma, your head has a coil on it, comma, and you wear a cool dress, bracket, talai, comma, a dress of leaves worn by girls after puberty, bracket closes, stop. Do not go anywhere with your wandering girlfriends, dash. Our ancient city, Mutupati, has, bracket, places, bracket closes, with attacking deities, stop. You are protected, bracket, i.e., now that you have reached puberty, comma, we must protect you, bracket closes, comma, and should not go outside, stop. You are no longer a little girl, comma, wise, comma, lovely child, dash. At the time of puberty, comma, you stayed outside, bracket, while you were menstruous, bracket closes, unquote, dot, dot, dot. Para. The time of ceremonial impurity after giving birth was called Puniru, Puniru, and seems to have lasted for 10 days, after which the woman bathed at night in the tank. Footnote 2. PUR.68 compares the Kaveri River, Kaviri river, to a breast trickling with milk after Puniru, showing that the milk was thought to be polluted before that time, while AK.139 speaks of, quote, white clouds impure in the days after they have given birth, unquote, stop. It is possible that animals were felt to be impure as well as human beings in the period after they gave birth, comma, for AK.56 says that to get out of the way of a cow, which was in its Puniru period, the hero's bard, BRD, dropped his lute and unwittingly ran into the heroine's house. Though it is nowhere stated, it is probable that until Puniru was over, the father was not allowed to see the mother of the child, a custom which is common among so-called primitive people. Peoples, plural. Crawley, Crawley, states, colon, quote, Separation between husband and wife at birth is often prolonged until the child is weaned, the idea being that milk, a female secretion, is a specially dangerous vehicle for transmission of her effeminate properties. Stop. Hence, the infant, from contact with the mother, is also, quote, unclean, unquote, that is, quote, dangerous, unquote, in the taboo sense, no less than it is in danger, stop. Among the northern, American, Indians, the mother is unclean for 5 weeks after birth and remains in a separate hut. No male may approach her, even the husband. Stop, unquote, footnote 3. He also describes the ceremony of the father's first seeing the infant. Among the basus, basutos, BASUTOS, the father is separated from the mother and child for 4 days, and then the medicine man performs the ceremony at which they are first reintroduced. Footnote 4. Such a ceremony is evidently described in PUR.100, quote. In his hand is a spear, and on his feet are battle anklets. Stop. Sweat glistens on his body. Page 231. And on his neck is a fresh wound. Stop. Adorning his curly black hair, he wears a venkai, together with a large vetchi, VETCI, flower, and with needy white leaves. From the top of the fast-growing young palmyra, which causes foes to flee. Stop. Footnote 5. His rage, like that of an elephant who dares to fight a tiger, is still unspent, semicolon. None escaped who angered him, His eyes, which saw foes, are still red, though they see his son. Stop, unquote, para. Here, Turikami Pillai, the sub-commentator for the Kalakam edition, suggests that at the ceremony, when the father first saw his first son, he would appear in war dress so that his son would become a hero. Such a practice would also help to offset the effeminate qualities of the nursing mother. Unfortunately, Pillai does not explain from where he got his information, and U.V. Swaminathaiyar, the sub-commentator of the other chief edition, mentions nothing of such a practice. Nevertheless, it appears to me that this poem is probably a description of the ceremony of the first meeting of father and child after Puniru, and that Pillai is correct in his explanation of the father's war dress. There are several poems which describe the husbands avoiding the embrace Nevertheless, it appears to me that this poem is probably a description of the ceremony of the first meeting of father and child after Puniru, and that Pillai is correct in his explanation of the father's war dress. There are several poems which describe the husbands avoiding the embrace of his wife while she is nursing their child. In AK.26, the wife complains, quote, "Can I be angry at him whose city has lovely prosperous fields where girls play, gathering as festival ornaments dark flowers with white fishbone stems fallen from dense clusters," page 232. of round-thorned mulli, mulli, question mark. Friend, comma, there were times when at night he would say in ecstasy, comma, quote, pressing my chest hard, dot, comma, do not stop embracing me with your black nipples, comma, unquote, as they resembled iron rings on the tusks of an elephant who attacks great doors, stop. And when I said, comma, quote, enough, unquote, comma, he would not listen, stop. In such manner would he celebrate these breasts, comma, dot. But now, when I wanted to embrace closely his fine-colored ornamented chest, fragrant with sandal, with these sweet breasts covered with spots and sore, comma, pendulous with milk for our son, comma, he feared some sweet milk might fall on him, stop. Seeing his hands hesitant, comma, holding me without closeness, comma, I looked at our son, comma, scarcely able to walk, comma, and said, comma, quote, you are fit for your women, semicolon. I, comma, for our son, unquote, comma. And I slowly went to the child, stop. He replied, comma, quote, I love him too, unquote, comma, and bending over, embraced me from behind, stop. At that, comma, page 233, my heart melted for him, like much plowed red earth in the cool spray of a heavy shower, comma, even though I knew well that I was cheated. Stop, unquote. Text continued in next file. Page 233, para. Similarly, in Ain, A-I-N, stop, 65, the heroine says to her husband, comma, quote, do not embrace my body which has given birth to our son, dash, your chest might be spoiled, stop, unquote, footnote 6. Here, the hero is afraid that his chest might be spoiled by contact with the milk of his wife with its effeminate properties. These are many poems which describe how the hero begins to see his harlot, bracket, parakta, bracket closes, after his first son is born, footnote 7, comma, probably because his wife is impure, or at least dangerous to his manhood, and he is hesitant to make love to her. Para. It has been seen that both of the taboos mentioned in the poems concern women at unclean times of their lives. From this fact, it may be inferred that women were thought to possess a latent sacred power, which at certain times became dangerous, so that they had to be tabooed. If this inference is correct, it is to be expected that elsewhere the sacred power, bracket, called Ananku in Tamil, bracket closes, of women, will actually be mentioned, and such is in fact the case. The chief source of such power was a woman's chastity, bracket, harpu, Harpu, bracket closes, comma, a virtue as important then as it is now in South India. Pur 198 speaks of a woman's chastity, quote, which has a god, bracket, Katavul, Katavul, bracket closes, comma, unquote, while Kur, Kur.252 and AK.184 mention, quote, chastity, bracket, which has the nature of, bracket closes, a god, unquote, stop. In AK.73, the friend describes the heroine as having, quote, chastity, full of afflicting sacred power, bracket, Ananku Uru Karpu, bracket closes, unquote, as she suffers while her husband is away. And in AK.198, the hero exclaims, comma, quote, she was no fine woman with complete chastity, comma, but a goddess, bracket, Chur, C-U-R, Makal, comma, Chur meaning demon and Makal meaning woman, bracket closes, who lives in the spring full of soft flowers, stop, unquote, para. Chastity consisted in a sort of asceticism, restraining all impulses which were in any way immodest. Thus, PUR.196 describes the bird's wife as being, quote, a tender girl with a shining face and chastity which, bracket knows, bracket closes, only modesty, bracket, none alatu illa karpu, bracket closes, comma, unquote. PUR.249 speaks of, quote, chastity, which is restrained, bracket, atanikia, bracket closes, unquote, comma. And PUR.361 says that the king's wives are, quote, women of chastity, increased by patience, comma, with sharp teeth which their tongues fear if they talk loudly, unquote, stop. PUR.166 speaks of the wife of an orthodox Brahmana as one who has, quote, chastity hard to get, comma, which banishes all harshness, bracket, maram, bracket closes, comma, with a small forehead, comma. Page 234. Large, wide loins, few words and much hair, who fits exactly her husband's state, unquote, stop. In AK.86, girls who have given birth to sons bless the bride, saying, comma, quote, may you have desire which loves him whom you get, comma, helping with many things, comma, not slipping from chastity, stop, unquote. In KUR.252, the heroine's friend scolds her, saying, comma, quote, bracket opens, when he returned from his harlot, bracket closes, comma, you, comma, without changing your sweet expression, comma, served him, comma, you with your divine chastity, unquote, comma, to which the heroine replies, comma, quote, good men are ashamed when praised to their face, dash, how could they bear abuse, question mark, unquote. Another element of chastity besides this restraint of speech and conduct is that the woman is often described as being attractive and fertile, with large loins and breasts, footnote 8. Chastity is also attributed to woman as mother, footnote 9. And the chaste woman's son is called the light of his class, light of his clan, footnote 10. Chastity was conceived of as an almost tangible quality in the woman who possessed it, producing domestic peace and light. Thus, KUR.336 speaks of a woman's, quote, chastity which shines in her house, unquote, stop. The importance of chastity to a prospective husband may be inferred from Kapilar's insistence that he was a Brahmana and a sage, bracket opens, Pulavan, a poet, one with knowledge, bracket closes, when he took the daughters of his dead friend Pari around to kings to marry them off, lest they think he had spoiled them. Footnote 11. It was thought degrading for a man to make love to an unchaste woman who did not love him, for in PUR.73 the king exclaims, quote, if he would come gently, prostrate himself before my good feet, and beg, saying, quote, give, mark of exclamation, unquote, then it would be a trifle to give him my kingdom and the right to it conferred by the drum. Stop. And even if it were my sweet life he desired, I would give it here and now, while still in this world. Stop. But that fool who mocks my purpose, not heeding the strength of the mighty, is like a blind man stumbling on a tiger, asleep, in the plain sight of all, he will never escape and return. Stop. Page 235. If I do not go, fight him, and make him suffer just where is, like a long pole of strong, thick bamboo, caught in the feet of a grazing elephant, then may my girl wither in the unresponsive embraces of girls with thick black hair, who have no love in faultless hearts. Stop, unquote, para. Several times a woman's chastity is evoked by the star Arundhati. In AK.16, for example, the heroine describes how the harlot embraced her son on the street and then says with irony, quote, how could I not love her, Lord, thinking her like the mother of your son, who resembles the goddess of chastity, full of power in the sky, question mark, unquote, footnote 12, para. Any woman who had come of age and was sexually appealing was thought to be filled with a sacred power to afflict men. This power was thought to reside in her breasts and to a lesser extent in her loins or any other part of her body which made her especially attractive. Thus in KUR.337, the hero exclaims, quote, the buds of her breasts have blossomed, and from her head thick soft hair falls down, stop. Her compact rows of white teeth are full, bracket opens, having completely replaced, bracket closes, her baby teeth, and a few spots, bracket on her body, a sign of puberty, bracket closes, have appeared, stop, ... I know her, so she afflicts, bracket, ananku, bracket closes, me, stop, unquote. It has been seen that in AK.7, the girl who has reached puberty is forbidden to go in the city because it has, quote, attacking gods, unquote, bracket, takku, ananku, bracket closes, for her, para. The dangerous power of such a girl can be well seen in the series of poems on the destruction of the city by suitors whose request has been denied by the girl's relatives. Such poems are well exemplified by PUR.345, quote, groves are ruined with elephants tied in them, stop. I repeat again. Groves are ruined with elephants tied in them, stop. Streets are choked with dust as chariots run, dot. Paths are frenzied as horses gallop, stop. Watering places grow filthy as weapons are washed. Stop. Page 236. Because so many fierce warriors stay here, comma. The earth bends beneath the load. Stop. Hosts of strange kings have come, desiring the girl, with close, comma, hot, comma, black-tipped breasts, and a devastating glance as they consider how the secret way is guarded, whose two doors resemble the iron valves of a bellows. BELLOWS. Sighing like a cow elephant. Stop. They are to be pitied, comma, for her relatives do not wish wealth, but war, and say, comma, quote, never will we give her to one unworthy, mark of exclamation, unquote. This good town, with its paddy fields and fences of Pannal, P-A-N-N-A-L, has warriors who grasp the handles of shields, comma, whose swords leave scars, comma, whose unwashed heads are smeared with lumps of flesh and blood, and who have long black-shafted spears, comma, and yet I do not know what will become of it. Stop, unquote, para. Many poems on this theme describe, especially the girl's breasts. In PUR 336, for example, the poet describes the preparations for war and then exclaims, comma, quote, surely the mother without principles is evil, who created this enmity and happily brought up. So they were beautiful, those young breasts, comma, not yet mature, comma, as lovely as the buds of a flowering kunkum, ... unquote. In PUR 337, Kapilar asks, comma, quote, even though they are so courageous, comma, who will squeeze her fine young task-like breasts, comma, page 237. Spread over with many spots and marked with ornaments. Question mark, footnote 13. Para. The secret nature of a woman's breasts is described also in other poems. In AK.161, the friend describes how the heroine weeps, quote, so coldness spreads on her finely raising young breasts, comma, vexing because a god, bracket, Ananku, bracket closes, is there, unquote, comma. And AK-177 speaks of, quote, breasts with Ananku, unquote, stop. In AK.220, the breasts of the heroine are said to be, quote, as hard for anyone to see as the well-guarded high post ... of the sacrifice completed by him with an axe ... at Cellur, CELLUR, stop, unquote. In AIN, AIN.363, the hero laments, comma, quote, you think there are spots on your breasts, comma, but my afflicted, bracket, Ananku Uru, bracket closes, heart thinks it is a god, bracket, Ananku, bracket closes, stop, unquote. If a woman's breasts can best be described to invoke her beauty, they can also be used to invoke her wretchedness. Thus, when the poet wishes to show how poor he is as he pleads for money from a king, he often makes a point of describing the pitiable condition of his wife, mentioning that her breasts are ugly and empty, as in the following excerpt from PUR.159. Footnote 14. Quote, my wife, comma, her body faded, comma, grieves anxiously, stop. Her breasts are withered, eaten and squeezed by the many little children she has at her side. Stop, unquote. In PUR 278, a mother threatens to cut off her breasts, the seat of her sacred power as a woman, if her son is a coward. Quote, many said, quote, the son of the old woman, on whose soft, dry arms flesh hangs and veins are raised, and whose stomach is like a full lotus leaf, has failed in battle and fled, unquote, stop. At that, enraged, she said, page 238, quote, if he has been routed in thick battle, I will cut off these breasts from which he drank, unquote, and, sword in hand, she turned over fallen corpses, groping her way on the red field, stop. Then she saw her fallen son lying, cut in pieces, and she rejoiced more than the day she bore him, stop, unquote. In PUR 295, when a mother sees the valor of a dead son, her breasts give milk again, showing that her joy was so profound that the seat of a sacred power, long since impotent, is suddenly charged with power again. Para. Another theme which gives insight into the sacred nature of woman is the convention in which the wasteland is transformed by the presence, imagined or real, of the heroine into a paradise, or is at least made bearable, for this is a demonstration of the woman's power to bring her lover through the other world and the almost death he experiences there. Thus, in KUR 274, the hero says, footnote 15, quote, in the desert, a cruel man, his readied arrow fitted to his bow, looks for wayfarers as he climbs a hill to shake down the thick sapphire dark fruits of an ukay tree, its trunk soft as a dove's back, and its use bark to assuage his thirst, stop. Yet even this fearful desert is sweet if I go, thinking of my girl, her loins decorated with jewels and gold, her breasts lovely. Page, unquote. Page 239, para. It is curious that the object most dangerous and filled with sacred power is also the one most threatened by it. It has been seen how in AK.7, the girl who has reached puberty is subject to, quote, attacking gods, unquote, in the city, and how menstruous women stand terrified in the temple of Murugan in PUR 299. Similarly, in AIN 250, it is said that, quote, the one who afflicts her young breasts which bear ornaments is the lord of the forest, not the victorious Murugan, unquote, stop. This shows that sacred power was a phenomenon in which the roles of both parties were similar. Each being potentially dangerous to the other. To be afflicted by the sacred power of another person One must in some measure possess a special power or status himself, often a special relationship in the person who afflicts. It is for this reason that the husband and wife must be extremely careful in their mutual contacts, a subject which will be examined later. Footnote 16. Text continued in next file. Page 239. Widows were subject to many restraints. They did not wear ornaments, caked their bald heads with mud, and slept on beds of stone. Footnote 17. The widow was supposed to clear off a little place, quote, the size of an elephant's foot, unquote, or of, quote, a dusty winnowing pan, unquote, comma, smear it with dung, put grass on it, and offer pintum for her dead husband to eat. Footnote 18. According to Turaichami Pillai, Turaicami, Turaichami Pillai, the widow would perform this rite on the spot where her husband actually died, putting down a leaf under the grass and then eating the saltless pintam, Pintam, herself. But unfortunately, he gives no source for this information. It is not surprising, perhaps, that with such an empty life to look forward to, many widows committed suicide to join their husbands in death. In PUR 246, a king's widow speaks of such suicide. Pillai suggests that she is addressing those who were dependent on her husband and who urged her not to burn herself so that she might be queen and continue to give them gifts, an idea which appears to be substantiated by her reference to their wicked schemes. It is likely also that those most devoted to the king would take their lives with his widow, and that she is mocking them for their lack of courage. Colon quote, listen, comma, all of you good men with your wicked schemes, comma, who would hinder me with words of restraint and not urge me to go, comma. Listen, comma, you good men, mark of exclamation. Page 240. I am no woman to suffer austerities, comma, eating for food, velai, V-E-L-I, leaves, boiled with tamarind, with white sesame paste, and a squeezed ball of rice, untouched by fragrant ghee, Ghee, whose light color resembles the seeds of a curved cucumber, with chipmunk lines split with a sword, comma, and to sleep on a bed covered with stones, without even a mat, stop. Go ahead, dash, spurn the pyre of black wood, heaped on the burning ground, stop. To me, comma, since my great armed husband is dead, comma, that fire and a large pond of lotuses which have loosed from buds rich petals are the same. Stop, unquote, para. It was not, however, merely dread at the thought of the austerities she would have to undergo or grief at the loss of her beloved, which motivated a widow to commit suicide. Rather, she was thought to be full of a sacred power which rendered her dangerous to herself and everyone else. No matter what sort of woman she was, she would have to perform austerities to keep that power under control. But if she were a young, chaste, high-born woman, austerities might not be sufficient, as can be seen in PUR 247. Quote, in a place full of ominous power, a herd of simple deer slumbers in the light of a fire, kindled by forest men from dry wood, brought by elephants, page 241, and is roused from sleep by monkeys rooting about. Stop. There, comma, a girl wanders towards the burning ground, comma, her hair streaming with water spread down her back. Stop. Though she is alone for only a moment in the vast guarded palace of her husband, where the eye of the drum never sleeps, comma, her sweet life trembles, fleeing headlong from her youth. Stop, unquote, para. Here the woman is going to burn herself after her husband has died. The image at the beginning of the poem shows clearly that there is danger to the simple deer sleeping in the light of the hunter's fire. Even today it is bad luck in South India to see a girl's hair spread out and wet. The image in this poem of the girl with wet hair spread down her back evokes the sacred power which is strongly present in her. Para. The dangerous power of a chaste widow is exemplified by the story of Kannaki, Kannaki, in the Chilappatikaram, who, after her husband has been executed unjustly, tears off her right breast and with it causes the city of Madurai to be consumed by fire. It hardly needs to be remarked that a woman's breasts were the seat of a sacred power, as has been seen. Finally, after she had wept and suffered for 14 days, she is taken up into heaven to be with her husband. For the author exclaims, comma, quote, even the gods pay honor to the wife who worships no one but her husband. Stop, unquote, para. When a hero died, a memorial stone called Natukal, Natukal, was erected to him. He was believed to actually inhabit the same, I repeat, inhabit the stone which had to be satisfied with sacrifices and offerings. Para. Chastity, which has been seen to have been a strong value in South India 2000 years ago, has retained its importance until today. In the Tamil version of the Ramayana by Kampan, 9th century AD, Ravana is put under a curse which does not allow him even to touch Sita, whereas in the Valmiki version of the epic, he picks her up bodily and carries her away. Para. Even the vocabularies of the Sanskrit and Tamil show different conceptions of the role of chastity. The Sanskrit word for chastity is page 242. Pativrayam, comma, quote, the state of keeping one's vow to one's husband, unquote, comma, a word which does not appear in any of its forms until the time of the epics, according to the Petersburg Wörterbuch, Worterbuch, footnote 19. In Tamil, chastity is karpu, Karpu, from kal, Kal, comma, quote, to learn, unquote, a word which besides mere faithfulness signifies the restraint of all immodest impulses and the sacred power acquired by a woman who has such qualities. Even more revealing is a comparison of the word for rape in the two cultures. In Tamil, the act is called Karpalital, Karpalittal, quote, the destroying of chastity, unquote, while in Sanskrit, Apte gives, in his English Sanskrit dictionary, footnote 20, Balat Sambhoga, quote, enjoying, bracket, a woman, bracket closes, by force, unquote, and Dushana, quote, spoiling, unquote, stop. This latter word appears like the Tamil word and is in fact used in much the same way by South Indians today who speak Sanskrit, but in ancient times its signification was quite different, as is shown by its use in the Manava Dharma Shastra, where a man is said to be spoiled within quote, by intercourse with a woman other than his wife. Stop, footnote 21. Para. Much insight is gained into the Tamil attitude towards chastity and marriage from Crowley's analysis of relations between primitive peoples in his study of marriage. The mystic rose, I repeat, much insight is gained into the Tamil attitude towards chastity and marriage from Crowley's Crawley analysis of relations between primitive peoples in his study of marriage, the mystic rose. There he shows that when primitive people wish to enter into alliance so that there can be no war or strife between them, they bind themselves by a relation called Ngia, Ngia, Ngiampi, Ngiampe, Ngiampe by the Narineri of South Australia. Footnote 22. To make such an alliance, there is a mutual exchange of some substance or thing which has sacramental value. The two parties may drink each other's blood, for example. After this, the two people become in a sense identical, and mutual intercourse between them must be severely restricted, lest they do harm to each other. Crowley points out that Ngia is a relation between individuals, which is, quote, a breaking of the taboo on connection by making the connection, unquote, stop. Footnote 23. And that the new connection entails new, very strong taboos. In ancient Tamil society, the central application of this concept was between man and woman. First, when a man became a woman's lover, he gave her a leaf dress called a talai, Talai, worn chiefly over the loins. He might also give her a flower from his hill or other sacred place, as is shown in KUR.1, where the heroine refuses the gift of Kantal flowers. Colon, quote, Murugan, the red one, kills, comma, crushing demons, page 243, and making the field red as his anklets whirl, comma, his elephants red tasked, his arrows red shafted. This is his heel, and it is thick with blood bunches of Kantal. Stop, unquote, para. A man might also make a doll for his beloved and paint her breasts with sandal, footnote 24. If she were unresponsive, the poetic convention, which almost certainly did not correspond to any reality, called for him to take the extreme step of riding a quote, horse, unquote, made of matal, M-A-T-A-L, the jagged stems of palmyra leaves, in the street in front of everyone. By doing this, he hoped to shame her into accepting him, but also he hoped to establish the NGA-NGMP relationship with her by shedding his own blood in a perversion of the sexual act. Footnote 25. The act had to be public so that society would recognize the initiation of the relationship. Para. The act of falling to love itself can serve as the exchange which initiates the NGA-NGMP relationship. Thus, Crawley states, quote, all apparently abnormal or unusual states of emotion, such as sudden anger or ecstasy, or the surging of love, when close contact with another attends these states, as for instance, in the case of love, if, A is, double quote, infected, double quote, unquote, with B's enthusiasm or love, A is, double quote, inspired, double quote, unquote, with B, then B is transformed to him. And so we come to the Kalduk, K-A-L-D-U-K-E bracket. The interchanged symbol which affects NGA-NGMP bracket closes, again, stop, unquote, footnote 26. A more binding relation is of course attained by the eventual marriage of the couple. But it should be remarked that in early Tamil, the act of falling in love was wholly binding on the woman, and she was committed to the man forever after, at least in theory. The reason for the resulting taboo after the NGA-NGMP relationship has been established in, according to Crawley, quote, that A and B become identical by transmission of personality, and therefore A avoids all physical contact with B because it is because it is through physical contact ultimately that all personal injury is effected, and by such contact he might injure himself in B, The breaking of the taboo of personal isolation has thus produced a fresh taboo of even greater force. Stop, unquote, footnote 27. It is of course impossible for a man and his wife to avoid all physical contact, but in most primitive or archaic societies, there are many taboos between them. Page 244. In Tamil Nadu, so far as can be made out, these taboos comprised not eating together, footnote 28, the wife's not calling her husband by name, bracket opens, though this is not mentioned in the text, see page 249, bracket closes, and the husband's not being allowed to see his wife or child in the impure period after she had given birth. Because of the symbolic identification of the wife with her husband when he was away, she was not supposed to wear ornaments in her hair. Stop, footnote 29. I repeat, footnote 29, and had to undergo such ascetic practices as offering sacrifices, wearing a string on her wrist, and according to U.V. Swaminathayer's commentary, fasting, footnote 30. The identification was continued even after the death of the husband. That is the reason why a widow was supposed either to take her life or to live in extreme asceticism. Para. Of all the implications of the NGR and GMP relation, the strongest for a married woman is chastity. Such an obligation is found in an extreme form all through the history of Tamil Nadu. It should be noted that in ancient Tamil society, when tokens were exchanged, the man gave a dress but received nothing in return. He was free to be unfaithful to his beloved, as the poems demonstrate over and over when they describe his affair with the Parattai, P-A-R-A-T-T-A-I, but the woman was entirely committed, and I do not know of one example in all of pre-modern Tamil literature of a wife who is unfaithful to her husband. Para. A poem illustrates many of the attitudes held by the ancient Tamils toward the relationship between man and woman. In AK.158, the girlfriend of the heroine replies to the mother who has seen her daughter meeting her lover, quote, "Do not frighten me by saying, quote, at midnight when darkness lay thick, and the rain, after pouring down from great clouds with thunder and lightning, had stopped, its noise stilled, I saw her, her heavy earrings flashing like lightning on high, her thick curly hair let loose, page 245, walking very stealthily like a peacock coming down from a mountain as she climbed the platform in the field and descended, stop, unquote. Listen, mother, on the other, I repeat, on the haunted slope where our garden is, a spirit, bracket, Ananku, bracket closes, comes, wearing bright flowers, taking whatever form it wishes, stop. Their, dreams delude those asleep, seeming as if they were actually happening, stop. This girl trembles even if she is alone, without a light, semicolon. And if the owl in the courtyard, Mara tree, M-A-R-A, Mora, line on A, tree, hoots fearfully, her heart seems to break, and she seeks refuge, stop. And father, as strong and wrathful as Murugan, is at home, and has let his dogs, like a pack of tigers, run loose. Stop. She is much too afraid to have done what you say. Stop, unquote. Here the poet compares the state of the heroine who is in love with things which are charged with the sacred in order to show how extremely sacred her state is. Thus, she is like a peacock descending from a mountain. In early Tamil, mountains were thought to be inhabited by sacred forces. The peacock, moreover, associated with mountains, rains, and fertility, bracket, because of its connection with the rains, bracket closes, had come to be associated with Murugan, the god of fertility, bracket, later, comma, of course, comma, the peacock became the vahana of the god, bracket closes, stop. By comparing the heroine with the peacock coming from the abode of the sacred, the poet hints that the heroine is returning. Page 246, an extremely sacred state which cannot be described. Everything associated with her evokes fertility, also strongly associated with the sacred for the early Tamil. She is on a wet field, her hair is like a cloud, bracket by implication, bracket closes, semicolon. Her earrings are like lightning. Finally, the poet ends the poem with an even stronger evocation of the sacred quality of the heroine's experience. So wonderful are her feelings that what is ordinarily sacred and filled with ominous power fails to frighten her or to have any effect on her. She is not afraid of the owl hooting in the mad, M-A-R-D, tree in the courtyard, then, as now, the abode of demonic forces. Then, in a masterly stroke, the poet equates the ordinary forces of the sacred with the girl's family, and specifically with her father, who is likened to Murugan, a god who, quote, wipes out all who do not bow to him. Stop, footnote 31. By taking a lover, comma, the girl is breaking a strong taboo and unleashing powerful forces, comma, as well as risking the wrath of her father. Unquote sign is not there. By entering into the NGA-NGMP relationship, she is breaking a taboo. But the state of the new relationship is so wonderful that the old taboos are neutralized. A whole new realm of the sacred, which transcends those things normally considered sacred, is called into play through the initiation of the NGA-NGMP relation. The poem makes the point that love between man and woman is the most sacred locus there is. And it shows further that it is especially in the woman that the sacred effects of the relationship are most manifest. Thus, it is not surprising that through her whole life, the Tamil woman was and is enjoined to undertake austerities lest the sacred in her go out of control. Text continued in next file. Page 246. Women and the Sacred in Ancient Tamil Nadu, continued. Para. It remains to contrast the Tamil, I repeat, It remains to contrast the Tamil attitude toward woman in its northern equivalent and to trace the development of the northern attitude. That the chastity of a woman was considered far less important in Vedic times than it was later is proved by the ceremony of Varuna Praghasha, which is described in the Shatapatha Brahmana, footnote 32. This ceremony is described by Keith as follows, quote, on the first day of the offering, barley is roasted on the Dakshina fire, the one used for all ritual acts of an uncanny description, Then a number of dishes of a porridge made from the barley are prepared, one for each member of the family with one over, apparently for the members yet unborn, The wife of the sacrificer is then asked by the priest what lovers she has, She must name them, or at least indicate the number by holding up as many stalks of grass as she has lovers, and by this action she purifies herself from her sins in this regard. Otherwise, otherwise, if she does not tell the truth, it will go badly for her. Connections stop. She is then taken to the southern fire, in which she offers the plants with the weeds, quote, whatever sin we have committed in the village, page 247, in the forest, among men and in ourselves, that by sacrifice we remove here, unquote, and further on an offering is made, and further on an offering is made to Varuna, who is asked to spare the lives of his suppliants and not be wroth, WROTH, stop, unquote, footnote 33. In another passage from the Shatapatha Brahmana, Sukanya, when married to the old and decrepit sage Chyavana, says, quote, I shall not forsake my husband while he is alive, to whom my father gave me, unquote, footnote 34. Showing that chastity did not demand of her the extreme faithfulness found in Tamil and later Sanskrit, where the wife was expected to be faithful even as a widow. A view of chastity more like the Tamil one is found in the Mahabharata. In the Vana Parva, when Damayanti curses by her faithfulness to her husband, a young hunter with evil designs on her, he falls down dead. Stop. Footnote 35. Similarly, in the Shalya Parva, the power of a chaste woman, Pativrata, closes, is described. She can, if she chooses, burn the world or stop the motions of the sun and moon. Stop footnote 36. Many similar descriptions appear elsewhere in the Mahabharata and in the Puranas. Footnote 37. In the Mahabharata, however, there are also passages which show an attitude towards chastity more similar to that which obtained in Vedic times than that of the Tamil poems. In the Aranyaka Parva, for example, when Damayanti does not hear from Nala for a long time, she prepares to hold another Swayamvara. Footnote 36. Para. There existed without question the practice among the Aryans of Vedic times of allowing a childless woman to conceive by her husband's brother, and even if she was a widow, to marry him. Footnote 39. Such practice was called niyoga. The Apastambha Dharmashutra, assigned by Kane to the period of 600 to 300 BC, footnote 40, states, quote, one shall not make over, bracket, his wife, bracket closes, to strangers, bracket, for a son by niyoga, bracket closes, comma, but only to one who is sagotra, stop, unquote, footnote 41. Similar rules for niyoga are mentioned in the Manava Dharma Shastra, and the practice is also mentioned in the Mahabharata, footnote 42. In both the Apastambha Sutra and the Manava Dharma Shastra, the practice of niyoga, after having been described in the passages mentioned above, is condemned. Footnote 43. Later writers on Dharma Shastra invariably forbade niyoga and had recourse to rather desperate ways of explaining away what their predecessors had said. Footnote 44. It is clear that in the time of the Vedas, the practice of niyoga and probably even widow remarriage were common and accepted by all. By the time of the early writers on Dharma Shastra and of the Mahabharata, the old customs had stiffer and stiffer competition. Page 248. From the newer norm of perfect chastity among widows. Thus, there are found, quote, bewildering and often conflicting rules about niyoga in the Smritis, unquote, stop, footnote 45. Finally, a little after the time of Christ, the new customs won out entirely, and the practice of niyoga was considered debased. It is in this period that the passages were written which are so common in the two epics and the Puranas describing the sacred power of a chaste woman. Para. A similar evolution is found in the development of other practices among widows. There is unfortunately no direct evidence from Vedic times, but the practice of niyoga and of widow remarriage indicates that the widow was not subject to the excessive ritual restrictions of later times. Manu speaks of the ascetic practices which may be performed by a widow. Quote, a woman, when her husband is dead, may, if she chooses, emaciate her body by subsisting on flowers, roots, and fruits, but she should not even take the name of a stranger male, stop. Till her death, she should be forbearing, observe vows, and be celibate, ... stop. Footnote 46. Para. By the time of the Skanda Purana, the author could write, quote, the widow is more inauspicious than all inauspicious things. Stop, footnote 47. In another passage, which Kane shows, is probably an interpolation that same Purana declares, quote, the tying up into a braid of the hair by the widow leads to the bondage of the husband, semicolon. Therefore, a widow should always shave her head, stop. She should always take one meal a day and never a second, stop, A widow, should every day perform tarpana with sesame, water, and kusha grass for her husband, his father, and grandfather, after repeating their names and gotra, stop, footnote 48, para. This passage is extraordinary. It gives virtually every vow expected in the Tamil poems of at least 6 centuries earlier. Tonsure, Tonsure, eating small amounts, not sleeping on a cot, and offering pintam to the dead husband. Footnote 49. The vows of tonsure and of offering tarpana do not appear earlier among the exhaustive references collected by Kane. It is this passage on which the medieval writers relied in order to prescribe the continual tonsure of widows. Footnote 50. Kane demonstrates conclusively that the practice of tonsure of widows in Aryan India was late, arising only some time before the 14th century. Footnote 51, para. Another practice whose beginning in Aryan India may be traced is the taboo on a wife's mentioning her husband's name. Such practice was permitted when Ramayana was written, for over and over Sita utters the name of Rama, page 249. In one chapter, she utters in 6 times as she talks to Hanuman, footnote 52. While when she is abducted by Ravana, she calls her husband by name again and again, footnote 53. By the time of Kalidasa, however, the taboo was observed, for Shakuntala and her friends refer to Dushyanta as Rajarshi, never uttering his name, and when Shakuntala wishes to address him directly, she says, quote, Paurava, Paurava, unquote, stop, footnote 54. Unfortunately, because the Aham poems are anonymous, it is not possible to determine whether this taboo was present in early Tamil. Certainly it is very much present in Tamil Nadu today, and in light of other related elements found in ancient Tamil, it seems quite likely that this taboo was also observed by the Tamils 18 centuries ago. Para. The final Aryan practice to be considered here is that of widow burning or sati. Kane states, quote, it appears probable that the practice arose in Brahminical India a few centuries before Christ. Stop, unquote, footnote 56. It is mentioned several times in the Mahabharata. Madri, the favorite wife of Pandu, burned herself with her husband, footnote 57. Saurandri is ordered to be burned with Kichaka, footnote 58. And the Mushal Maushala Parva mentions that some wives of Vasudeva and Krishna burned themselves when they were widowed. On the other hand, in the Stri Parva, no mention is made of widows burning themselves as the cremations of the Kauravas are described in detail. Footnote 59. Winternates considers that the portions of the Mahabharata which describe Shati are insertions of later date than the main body of that epic. He points out that Shati is nowhere mentioned in the Ramayana. Footnote 60. Several texts are cited by Apararka, which apparently forbid self-immolation to Brahmana widows. Footnote 61. The earliest epigraphical record of Sati is AD 510 in the Gupta inscriptions. Footnote 62, para. From the foregoing evidence, it appears virtually certain that the practice of attributing extreme sacred power to a woman and her chastity, as it is found in early Tamil and in Sanskrit, beginning with the epics, was one which originated with the indigenous peoples of India and probably with the megalithic Deccan Dravidian civilization, which flourished in the first millennium BC. It is in Dravidian India that it's still strongest, and only in Tamil literature that it is consistently and without exception observed. It is moreover only in early Tamil literature that the real reason for sati and widow asceticism is stated. Colon, page 250. That the widow is full of sacred forces which might endanger herself and others unless they are suppressed. Beginning in about the 3rd century BC, these practices begin to make their way into Aryan India. Instances of sati, still uncommon, are found in the Mahabharata, and a woman's chastity begins then to take on the special magical quality which has always distinguished it in Tamil literature. That an influx of Dravidian elements into Aryan culture was occurring during this period is indicated clearly by the fact that great numbers of Dravidian words, probably from now date Central Dravidian languages, began to find their way into Sanskrit and Indo-Aryan during the period of the epics. Footnote 63. It can also be shown that many poetic techniques and conventions employed in the epics came from the oral literature of the Deccan culture. As contact with the Dravidians of South India increased, more and more non-Aryan elements entered North India. Kalidasa, the greatest Sanskrit poet, relied to an extraordinary extent on conventions and techniques which come from South India and which are found in Tamil before they appear in Sanskrit. Several popular Prakrit meters which appear in the first centuries after Christ and are adopted into Sanskrit can be shown to be Dravidian. Footnote 64. Para. As time went on, even more Dravidian elements entered Aryan India. The practice of widow tonsure, for example, did not penetrate into the north until at least 600 years after it is attested in Tamil, and other elements of widow asceticism accompanied it. It is interesting to note that it is chiefly the Brahmanas who practice the tonsure of widows today in Tamil Nadu, even though they are more of Aryan origin than the other Tamils. This shows how indigenous customs spread into Indo-Aryan culture. Before a group was assimilated, Brahmanas would come into it and adopt those values most admired by that group in order to gain respect. Thus, the custom would have gained a foothold in the Brahminical religion and would be perpetuated when descendants of the Brahmanas wrote law books or copied texts with the appropriate insertions. Today, an ideal of chastity not too different from the early Tamil one pervades virtually all of India. It is in fact one of the strongest universal factors of the civilization of modern India, being perceptibly stronger today than in medieval India, where Tantrism was practiced. This trait of Hinduism, virtually universal today, spread from indigenous groups, chiefly from the Deccan culture of the Dravidians, and was embraced ever more and more by Aryan society. Page 251 notes 1. Be all Chin and are all Chin. The birth of Indian civilization, Colony India and Pakistan before 900 BC. Baltimore, M.D. Stop, 1968, page 232. 2. U. V. Swaminathan, E.D. Manimekolai, Madras Kapir Achukkutam, 1965, 7.75 to 76. 3. E. Crawley, The Mystic Rose, 2 volumes, New York, 1927, volume 2, page 198. 4. Ibid, volume 2, page 199. 5. The tree causes foes to flee, probably because it is a kaval maram, that is a tutelary tree, a tree which is singled out to symbolize the king's connection with the world of the sacred and which is guarded at all costs from being cut down by enemies. 6. See also Ain, AIN dot 494. 7. For example, AK dot 1626 66 176. 8. Pur 166 361. 9. Pur 198. AK 16 184. 10. The word for clan here is Kuti, Kuti, AK 184. 11. Pur 201. 12. See also Pur 122. Ain 422. 13. See also Pur 341, 350, 352. 14. See also Pur 160, 164, 211, 276. 15. See also AK 83. Ain 203, 303, 203, 303, 322, 327, 328, 360. 16. For details, see page 244. 17. Pur 224, 246, 253, 261, 280. 18. Pur 234, 249. 19. Bolink, Bohtlingk, and R. Roth, Roth. Sanskrit, Winter Sanskrit, Wortenbach, Wortnbuch, comma, 7 volumes, St. Petersburg, 1855 to 75, volume 4, page 412. 20. V.S. Apte, The Student's English Sanskrit Dictionary, Delhi, 1964, page 377. 21. Manusmriti, Bombay, Nirnay Sagar edition, Roman 2.61.2.213. 22. Crawley, Opposite, volume 1, page 287. 23. Ibid, volume 1, page 286. 24. Pur, 276. 25. Kur, 14, 17, 32, 173, 182, 298. 26. Crawley, Opposite, volume 1, pages 308 to 9. 27. Ibid, volume 1, pages 300 to 1. 28. Pur, 120. Kur, 167. 29. Kur, 192. 30. Kur, 218. 31. AK, 22. 32. Shatapatha Brahmana, Weber edition, London, Roman 2.5.2.20. 33. A.B. Kith, The Religion and Philosophy of the Vedas and Upanishads, Oxford, 1961, page 265. 34. Shatapatha Brahmana, Opposite, 4.5.9. 35. Mahabharata, Opposite, Sit, CIT, Stop, 3.61.37 to 8, page 252. 36. Ibid, 9.62. 37. P.V. Kane, The History of Dharmashastra, 5 volumes, Pune, 1930 to 62, volume 2, pages 563 FF. 38. Mahabharata, Opposite, 3.68. 39. Atharva Veda, VVRI edition, 2.615 semicolon. Rig Veda, Pune edition, Roman 10.40.2. 40. Kane, Opposite, volume 1, page 135. 41. Apastambha Dharmasutra, Bombay Sanskrit series, edited by Buller, Buhler, Roman 2.10.27.5 to 7. 42. Manusmriti, Opposite, 10.59 to 61. Mahabharata, Opposite, Roman 1.111.114. 43. Apastambha Dharma Sutra, Opposite, Roman 2.10.27, 5 to 7. Manusmriti, Opposite, 9.64 to 8. 44. Kane, Opposite, volume 2, page 604. 45. Ibid, volume 2, page 604. 46. Manusmriti, Opposite, 5, 157 to 60. 47. Skanda Purana, Venkateshwara Press edition, Bombay, Roman 3. Brahmacharya section, chapter 7, verse 50 to 1. 48. Kane, Opposite, volume 2, page 586. Skanda Purana, Opposite, Kashikondo, chapter 4. 49, see page 239. Page 239. 50. Kane Opposite, Volume 2, page 586. 51. Ibid, Volume 2, pages 587 FF. 52. Valmiki Ramayana, critically edited for the first time by G. H. Bhatt, BHATT, etc. Baroda, 1960. 5.31.12.13. 15, 16, 17, 21. 53. Ibid 3.47. 54. Abhigyana Shakuntalam. Nirnay Sagar edition, Bombay, Act 3. 55. Kane Opposite, Volume 2, page 625. 56. Strabo, Roman 15.1.30 and 62. 57. Mahabharata Opposite, 1.90.75. 1.116 to 29. 58. Ibid 4.22.8. 59. Ibid 16.8.18. 60. M. Winternids, A History of Indian Literature, translation S. Ketkar, Ketkar, Calcutta, 1962 to 3, Volume 1, page 444. 61. Kane Opposite, Volume 2, page 627. Apararko on the Yagnavalkya Smriti, Ananda Sharma Sanskrit Series Edition, Pune, page 112. 62. Fleet Gupta Inscriptions, page 91. 63. T. Barrow, Burrow, The Sanskrit Language, London, 1955, pages 380 to 8. 64. G. L. Hart, Related Cultural and Literary Elements in Ancient Tamil and Indo-Aryan, a thesis submitted to Harvard University, Cambridge, Massachusetts, 1969. In the second part of this dissertation, I have listed many of the literary conventions and techniques used by Kalidasa found before in the Tamil anthologies, but not in any Indo-Aryan works which I surveyed. Classical Sanskrit meters which can be shown to be of Dravidian origin include Arya and the other Dvipadi meters based on matras and all of the Chatushpadi meters based on matras. Page 253, Sources. Versions whose texts have been followed are marked with an asterisk. Ainuku Nuru. Commentator P.V. Choma Kuntarantar, Madras, Kazagam, 1966. Ainuku Punuru, commentator Auvai, Auvic, Turai Chamipillai, 3 volumes, Annamalai University, 1957 to 8. Asterisk. Arikurunuru Mulamam Palayanariyam, with an old commentary. Annotator U.V. Swaminathaiyar, 5th edition, Madras, Kapir Achukkuram, 1957. Akananuru, commentator N.M. Venkatachami Naktar, Madras, Kazakam, 1965. Kuruntokai, commentator P.V. Choma Chutaranar, Madras, Kazagam, 1965. Asterisk. Kuruntokai, commentator U.V. Swaminathaiyar, 4th edition, Madras, Kapir Achukkutam 1957. Asterisk Purananuru with commentary. Annotator U.V. Swaminathaiyar, 6th edition Madras, Kapir Achukkutam 1963. Purananuru. Commentator Ovai C. Turai Champillai, 2 volumes Madras. Kazakam 1962-1964. The article ends here. Next page is blank. Page 254 is blank. Page 255, Section 4, Religious Beliefs and Practices. Page 256, blank. Page 257, Urvashi and Pururavas by D.D. Kosambi, read in the next file.